What is up, everybody? How's it going? Austin Prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're having a good day so far. Apologies in advance if I have a crazy coughing fit. Still feeling pretty rough this morning, but still showing up, still working on making things happen. Yesterday, I was check-in day for my clients, so didn't go live. Was trying to I still ended up working. It was like still like a 12-hour day. It was just because everything was happening a lot slower than normal, just because I'd have to like stop and start videos and stuff like that for my clients because I just go on these like minute and a half long like coughing fits and stuff. So the lungs are feeling pretty rough right now. But whatever it may be going on, hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow or have at least this weekend to recover. But as you guys are tuning in, let me know how your day is going. Give this video a like, drop a comment so I know you're here. Say hi, and we're gonna jump into this here in just a second. So let me kind of like paint you a picture, I guess, in a sense of what we're gonna be kind of like talking about today, by giving you an example of basically what has been going on in my day to day for the last kind of like couple of weeks. And as a lot of you guys know, I've been super sick. Been just kind of we've moved. We had a lot of bunch of stuff kind of going on, and so it's like it's one of those things. It's like, what do you do, right, to make progress towards your goals when you feel like you're constantly playing catch up, right? And what's up, Kristen? How's it going? You're painting. Cool. Very cool. That's awesome. What are you painting? Um, and so, what do you need to do, right, to move the needle forward on your journey, or it, to progress towards your goals, right? What do you need to do to make that happen when you feel like you're constantly playing catch up, right? Because for a lot of us right now, and it's crazy how many of my clients have been sick lately. It's crazy how many people I know have been sick lately, me included. It's that time of year, and with everything else kind of going on, like with um, with the C word and everything, like everybody seems like they're getting sick, right? So that might be one reason why you're feel like you're playing catch up right now, or maybe it's a big life event, or maybe a family member of yours is sick, or maybe you moved, or maybe right now during this period of time, maybe your kid is in sports, and so like you're traveling a lot due to that, and so walls. That's funny. Uh, I thought you were painting like an actual. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, but yeah, so like, what do you do, right? Like, how do you approach this? Because we all want to make progress, right? We don't want to like spin our wheels. We don't want to be in the same place now in 3 months that we are right now, right? We don't want that. Like, we want to make headway towards our goals. But in life, there are periods of there are seasons of growth, right? Where everything like the stars kind of align, and like it's like, man, like I'm really in my stride right now. I feel like I'm crushing it. Like things kind of like there are periods of time where it's just like, man, it's really easy. It feels easy right now for me to make headway towards my goals. And there's gonna be other periods of time, like maybe right now for you, definitely is for me, where it's like, oh shit, like I've got so much stuff going on. Like I've been sick. Like I've been we moved, and there's all this other stuff kind of going on where it's like, man, like it feels a lot more difficult to tackle things in the way that I was tackling them before, because like we've got all this shit going on, so we're playing catch up. We feel like we're constantly playing catch up, and so today, just as an example, of and that could be kind of on a day to day, or it can be like a day to day scale, right? You might just have a day where it's like an off day and you feel like you're playing catch up for the whole day, or it might be for a couple weeks, or maybe even a couple months, something like that. And so I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to, is like that feeling of trying to like play catch up. And so for an example, today, I woke up a couple of times in the middle of the night, just like with like terrible like fever sweats, and just I woke up just completely drenched because of whatever I've got going on right now. And so didn't sleep super well. So I woke up at like 6, and normally before I was getting sick, I was getting up at like 3:45, between 3:45 and 4:30 every morning, right? And now, like, because I'm trying to heal and catch up on and get back to a place of like being healthy, I've been sleeping until like 6:30, 7, every day, just trying to heal up. And so, that's one of those things where it's like, man, like I'm trying to play catch up. Like I lost out on a couple of hours that I normally have to get things kind of set up for my day. Um, and so today, like I woke up at 6:45, was sweating my ass off, and was just like, man, I need to take some meds. So I've been basically living off of like caffeine and fucking Tylenol for the last like couple of days. And so like, took some, like, slept for another half hour and was like, okay, well, now it's time to get ready and get things kind of set up. And so, having to, it's just like one thing after another. It's like, oh man, we're out of gas. Got to get gas. Got to do this. Got to do that. And it's just like, it comes to the point where it's just like, oh shit, like I'm like even further behind than I normally am. And so a lot of times this happens, right? Especially if you've got kids. Like kids can throw a couple more. It's almost like they add like several other dimensions to the difficulty of things sometimes, where it's just like, oh my gosh, like, they got sick and they're gonna get me sick, or they had to stay home, so I have to stay home. Like, there's things like that where it's just like it happens on a, it can happen on kind of like a semi-regular basis, where it's just like you're always, you might right now feel like you're always playing catch up, which can be kind of like, draining on people, kind of mentally or emotionally, because you're just like, man, I really want to like do this thing for myself. I really want to work on my fitness journey. I really want to work towards my weight loss goal right now. But I feel like I'm always playing catch up. And so we get in our head about it a lot of times too. And we feel like maybe like bad, or we feel like, it adds like another layer of stress to our day, which, is counterproductive to our goals a lot of times. And so, because that can kind of like make us, be like, it can cause like shame spiraling. It can cause like, you can beat yourself up about, not being able to get done what you want to get done. And sometimes people kind of get into that like F it mode, where they're just like, well, what's even the point if I've got all this shit kind of going on? I feel like I'm always playing catch up. Like like what's the point, right? And I'm here to tell you, like, you need to get away from that mentality, because that is like a pretty toxic mindset, that, is going to impact your life in a lot of ways, like not just with your fitness journey. And, recognizing that there are seasons to these things, and recognizing that success, and I said this to several of my clients yesterday, because a lot of us are sick right now, is like success is a spectrum, right? It's not pass fail. Like, it's not like, and a lot of us think in that way because of school, but life is not like school, right? Life is not like school. You don't get a fucking report card on your life, right? You don't get one. There's not an A. You don't get an A plus. You don't get an F. There's a spectrum to success, right? You will never be perfect, right? You'll never get a perfect on life, and you're never gonna get you're never gonna like totally quit, because you always have the opportunity to come back, unless you're dead, right? And so, thinking about your goals and your success and your journey as being on this like spectrum is like, that kind of shifts, that can help shift your mindset to be like, oh, like, like maybe, and I've talked about this before. It's like, yeah, you might not be able to show up at 100% right now for yourself, but you can still show up even if it's 10%, right? That's 10% more than zero, right? Than not doing anything at all. And so starting to view, your journey as not this like pass fail, like mentality, and more of like a, well, yeah, I wasn't able to be perfect on these things because I was sick, or my kid was sick, or whatever it may have been, going on. But like, I can still do some of these other things that can help move the needle forward a little bit in my journey. And so, getting away from that all in all out mentality is really important for that. And so, just to kind of give you guys, just to kind of take it another step further, I guess, for your journeys, right now, it's like, for you, like right now, if like whoever's watching this, you know, you need to identify some like core things, in your day. And I think it's important to identify like the biggest things, or like the simplest things that can make the biggest difference, that are non-negotiables for you, right? Like create like a list of for yourself, like almost like an emergency plan, right? If shit hits the fan, these are the like three to five things that I will do no matter what, right? Even if my kid's sick, this is what I'm gonna do. If I'm sick, these are the things that I can focus on. It's almost like having like a plan for yourself, like saying like, like because life is not gonna not like fuck you sometimes. It's not. That's life sometimes. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna have this shit happen to you. So planning ahead for that to actually happen and expecting it, and then when it doesn't happen, sweet, you get that. It's great. That's extra. But just expecting craziness to happen sometimes. And when it does, having these like 3 to 5 non-negotiables that are going to move the needle forward no matter what are going to are something that you guys need to have if you feel like you're playing catch up all the time right now, anyways. And so for me, this can be applied to not only your journeys but other things in life, right? Like if you run a business or something like that. Like for me, in my own like business, I've got these non-negotiables. It's like I'm getting this shit done. Otherwise, I better be fucking dead or in the hospital somewhere or incapacitated in some way. Like otherwise, if because these things are getting done no matter what. And for me, in my business, typically that's either getting a post out, communicating with my clients, making sure that I'm doing my morning routine, things of that nature that are just like if I do these things, even if I don't get everything done, I still have something I can feel good about. I still have something that progressed my business or progressed my journey. And for a lot of you right now, that's probably going to be more nutrition related, right? So, because a lot of times, whenever we're in these periods of stress or in these periods of like playing catch up, it's probably because somebody's sick, or it's probably because you're moving and you might not have access to your gym or whatever, or you might not want to work out because you're not healthy right now, and so things like that. So typically, for a lot of you out there right now, like you need to set up some non-negotiables for your nutrition, right? No matter what, even though I'm fucking sick, I'm getting my protein in, right? No matter what, if I'm fucking sick or my kid's sick or whatever it may be, I am tracking my food, right? No matter what happens, I have this non-negotiable for, and this is for you guys, like, and no matter what, I am going to have I'm going to do my morning routine, right? Because it's going to set me up for success and to handle all the craziness that might be going on right now, right? No matter what, I am going to meal prep. What if it's that day, right? Like that's what I'm going to do. No matter what, that's my non-negotiable. I have to do this because it's going to help me out a lot more in the days ahead. Identifying these non-negotiables, identifying these things that can move the needle forward a little bit more, are so important. And in doing so, it's going to help us and allow us to make progress even when circumstances aren't ideal, right? And so how do we go about this though, right? Like how do we go about this though? One of those things is having a morning routine or having a routine of at least the very frequently is creating like a to-do list, right? What are the things that I can do to move the needle forward in my day, right? You're not going to know what those are unless you write them out, right? Or you're not going to think about them how you need to think about them or be reminded about how you need to do those things if you just have them in your head throughout the day, because you're going to probably forget because you got a lot of shit going on because you're playing catch up and you're probably stressed. Get it out on fucking paper. Get it out on paper, make a to-do list for yourself and say, these are the 3 to 5 things that I am doing today no matter freaking what. And if I do these things, I can feel good about that. And I can feel good about my journey. And so Kira says, great topic. Constantly having to remind myself to do the best I can in each circumstance. Yep. Dang, Austin, are we reviewing my feedback? You weren't the only one. You weren't the only one, Kristen. You weren't the only one. It's okay. There's a lot. Everybody's kind of going through a lot of being just trying to play. It's tough right now, right? Being sick or a lot of people right now. Like, and this is a reality of the situation, right? Like for those of you that are watching this right now, this is a reality of the situation. Like we're in unprecedented fucking times right now where like there's a fucking pandemic going on and schools are shut down like crazy all the time, right? Or our kids are getting sick like there's a lot of things going on where we need to be fucking nice to ourselves and we need this stuff like now more than ever in terms of like identifying these like needle movers, right? What are the things that we can do today to ensure that we are going to see progress in our goals? It may not be 100% like what we want to get there, but guess what? Like it's going to move the needle forward and we can feel good about that, right? You know, There's never been a time in my life where all the gyms are getting shut down and stuff, right? Or where you have to be afraid to go to the gym, right? It's never been a time in my life where, schools are able to be open, or school districts, like entire school districts aren't able to be open or considering not being open because too many teachers are sick, right? There's never been a time where that's been a thing. And so, in these times of, like fear or times of like uncertainty, we need to be certain about what we need to do in a day to day to move the needle forward, right? Maybe it's meal prepping. Maybe for you, it's tracking your food or making sure that you're getting your fucking protein in, right? Maybe it's no matter what, I'm getting my workout in as long as you're not sick, right? Whatever it is for you for your non-negotiables, maybe it's getting this amount of water in per day, right? But set that stage and be integral as fuck to those things, right? Be integral as fuck to those things, right? Do you think I want to be going live right now with how I feel right now? No, I fucking don't want to be on here right now. Like, just to be fully transparent, I feel like shit, right? Do you think I want to do you think I want to be social at all right now with how shitty I feel? No, I don't want to fucking do that. But I know it's important, and I know that this is something that I need to be integral to, and I know that this is something that is going to move the needle forward for my business, right? It's going to move the needle forward for my clients, right? Because you guys are watching this, you're gonna get something out of this that's gonna be a good takeaway. It's gonna help you, right? These are non-negotiables for me. Going live, non-negotiable. I didn't go live yesterday because I had my client check-ins and they took me like twice as long as it normally does because I had to keep restarting my videos because I kept coughing up a storm, and even then I still coughed up a storm in a lot of their check-in responses. But it's one of those things like you know I I have non-negotiables, and I'm gonna get that shit done no matter freaking what because I know that I need to do these things in order to make my business move forward. I need to do these things in order to make my journey move forward. Right? Still getting my protein in. Right? Still getting my water in as best as I can, even if I'm not hungry at all. Like I don't want to eat right now. I don't have an appetite, right? Because I'm sick. But guess what? I'm still getting that fucking food in at the end of the day. Still making it happen. So, at the end of the day, we need to be integral to the shit that we say that we're going to do. But first, before we can do the things that we said we're going to do, we need to identify what those things are, right? To move that needle forward. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah. So yeah. So at the end of the day, guys, right? Um, just as a reminder, right? So let's kind of recap here. So in if you feel like you're constantly playing catch up, right? Whether that be for a couple of weeks or it's been a couple of months, or if it's just for the day, right? The day in and of itself, you need to identify your core non-negotiables. You need to identify 3 to 5 things that you can do in the day. Either they're the biggest things, or they're the things that are going to have the biggest impact, right? Or they're the simplest things that you can do that are going to have a big impact, right? You got to weigh the ratio of like how much time is this going to take and how big of an impact is it going to have on my goals. 99% of you out there, it's going to be probably more nutrition related than anything. Those are probably going to kind of be your non-negotiables. Is like getting this amount of steps in, or tracking my food, or making sure I get this much protein in, or making sure I'm getting this water in, or having my morning routine set out, or making a to-do list, right? So those things, those are probably going to be kind of like your core things, but like identifying what those are for you right now in this moment, and those things can shift. Super important, right? Super important. And so making that to-do list or making that like 3 to 5 list of non-negotiables, and then just knowing that there are seasons of growth, right? And then there are going to be seasons of slowly chipping away at shit because you got a lot of stuff going on, right? If you're working full time, you got a lot of shit going on. If you're working full time and you've got kids, you got a lot of shit going on. If you're a stay-at-home parent, which I also would consider working full time, just as a parent, which a, is a crazy job in and of itself. Don't let anybody tell you any differently, because I was a stay-at-home dad and it was fucking hard. You know, if you, during those periods of time where you've got a lot of stuff going on, certain periods of time are going to be easier to make progress and headway towards your goals, and you need to really take advantage of those and identify when those things are happening. But there's also going to be seasons like right now where you're going to be fucking chipping away, and it's going to be a slow grind, and it's going to be. But in those moments, you can't fucking quit. You can't fucking quit. You can't give up, and you can't stop doing your non-negotiables, because what's going to happen is you're going to throw away all your progress. You're going to regress. You're going to get out of momentum, and you're going to, set yourself back like crazy because you've got this like, fuck it, what's the point mentality about it. So, start building up that like mental tenacity in those areas. Start creating your non-negotiables and plan for life to fuck you. Plan for life to be crazy. And then when it's not, sweet, I got all this extra. I can get all this other stuff done that I wanted to get done, in those moments, and I can take advantage of that. But in the days that you don't have that, you've got your things that you need to do. Get those things done. Feel good about it. Move the needle forward a little bit, and keep doing it. Just keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Cool. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope this was valuable. Yeah. If you feel like you're constantly playing catch up, there's a reason for that. Identify what the reason is. Try to do something about it. If there's nothing that you can do about it right now because it's, your kid's sick or something like that, focus on what you can control, not what you can't. Create your non-negotiables. Follow through. Be integral. Stay awesome. Kick ass. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you got value from this. Let me know if you have any questions for me. Other than that, if you watch this later time, #replay. Feel free to give this video a like. Drop a comment with what your number one takeaway was. And just know that, shit may be crazy right now for you, or you feel like you're playing catch up. You feel like you got a lot of shit going on right now. Just know, as long as you keep showing up and you're integral to those non-negotiables, you will continue to make progress. And one day, things will let up a little bit, right? There will never be a perfect opportunity, and I believe that the majority of the time we create our own opportunities, but just know that shit will not be as stressful, but you got to do the things that you got to do to make it as less stressful as possible, because a lot of times when things happen like that, we make it worse for ourselves by beating ourselves up and stressing about things that we can't control at the end of the day. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Have a good one, and yeah, talk to you later. Bye.